The Slim Fast 14-day effect on your New Year's resolution. Day 1, the new year. You want to kick it off with a bang, and you're not just talking about fireworks. Day 14, you're ready to start this year right, looking great and preferably on top.
2 weeks is all it takes to get what you really want. Swap 2 meals a day for Slim Fast protein shakes or bars, get in a 30-minute workout, and stick to a 1,200-calorie diet to lose up to 6 pounds in your first 14 days. Find Slim Fast in a store near you.
You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's The Originals After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's The Originals After Show.
I think I should be with
I like that breath in the...
Yeah, glow sticks.
I really don't know where the song's going to go right now.
I like it.
I really don't know where this episode's going to go right now.
Well, we know where the episode went, but this season, man.
Woo!
The music was so good, too.
It
Always.
is. And I'm really glad that we came back with a great episode. Originals is... no pun, slaying Vampire Diaries to me at this point. Every episode, I mean, Vampire Diaries has come back with 100th episode. They need to kick it up because that finale was not cute.
Okay,
No,
but
yeah, I
at
agree.
least I will say the episode before the finale I loved, but the finale wasn't great. But, of course, Originals, we've loved every single episode this season, or at least I have.
Yeah.
Not trying to speak for everyone. We've got this, like, Morse code thing going on right now.
Oh.
There we go. I'm going to have all of my hosts just try and plug in
dash,
their
Roxy,
little...
it's your mic.
dash.
There we go.
Dash,
Perfect.
We got it. Sorry, guys.
So the originals,
That's
the title is called Casket Girls. I am DJ Jesse Janedy here in the AfterBuzz TV studio. We are back, joined in studio by the lovely Kristen Snyder.
Hello, hello.
The gorgeous Paige Sullivan.
Hey, everyone.
And the amazing Roxy Striar.
Hello.
So Casket Girls, this was a really cool concept and theme. Now, this is a real thing.
Yes. Okay, so this is a real thing because I Googled it. But if you are like many teachers and you don't allow Wikipedia, disregard everything I'm saying because that's where I got all of this from. But really it was French girls who were kind of brought here to marry
When you say
men
here.
to Louisiana, or for the show, to Louisiana to marry a nice gentleman from New Orleans. Apparently a lot of times they would go to Paris and like take poor women off the street and things like that. But the Casket Girls are called that because of the casket they brought behind them full of their clothes, which is such a morbid way to carry your clothes.
Yeah.
And also, a lot of times they were from orphanages and they were guaranteed to be virgins, and that was why people wanted them.
All right, so a modern day escort service back then.
Then what would
Yeah.
happen?
Well, no, so I think they would marry the girls, but
So they wouldn't kill them, right?
I don't think they would kill them, and I think it even said if you were a descendant of a casket girl, you were kind of regarded highly because it meant your mother was a virgin and, you know, that she was pure.
So I wonder what that angry mob was.
I think the mob was just her. Wasn't it just Rebecca destroying
Well,
people?
She was
she was
killing
saving
those
the
guys
girls.
that were waiting for them. So
Right.
It just seemed like maybe they weren't as nice as they were led to believe.
Right.
And obviously, if they wanted virgins, you know, where that's going to go.
Right, I can't imagine. It didn't say anything about that in what I was reading, but I can't imagine they treated these girls very nicely. I mean, they bring them over basically to get them pregnant and to marry
Well,
them.
we have to remember what the actual history of it could be very different than the show.
Correct.
In the voiceover of the show, we hear that these men are waiting to do not so nice things to them. And the point of us knowing this is that Rebecca supposedly saves these casket women from their fate of whatever negativity that is by slaying all of them.
I'm into feminist Rebecca.
Me
Me
too.
too. This
She's
whole
a
episode.
Spitfire.
Yeah, woman versus the men.
Nowadays, it's celebrated kind of almost like a Halloween in a situation. All the girls kind of dress up as. Well, I wonder what the guys would be dressing as. The
Murderers.
all right, we're gonna pretend to rape you today. Like, oh,
Well, the
Do
girls
less.
the girls had blood on their dresses, a lot of them.
Yeah.
So it does make it seem like it's a cat and mouse game between the men and the women out there. I don't know. Not cute. Not cute.
Sounds like a bad Pretty Little Liars theme party.
Oh gosh.
Sorry,
No,
I
who's
had to
gonna
come.
die tonight?
I had to come for that show. All right, so within this whole little, casket girl party situation, we have a whole lot going on. We have Rebecca, who is so irritated with Marcel at this point. She's just against Team Klaus, Team Marcel, Team Elijah. She's like, oh, hell no. I am done with y'all. I'm done with Marcel. Do you guys see this being the end for Rebecca and Marcel? Or do you think there could be a little spark there? I want to hold...
Ha ha ha. If you
Living
think
on a
it's the
prayer.
end, you're living under a rock. I mean, there's no way there's zero feelings there. We even see Marcel tonight try to hit on Rebecca a little bit. She obviously still has feelings for him. She's just bitter at this point, as she's been many times in the past few hundred years. I think we will see a future there for sure. Maybe not in the next episode 2, 3, 4, but by the end of this season at least, we will see something.
Yeah, I agree. I think we learned from the Vampire Diaries, if you're coming from that show to this one, it's never over. A relationship is never over. But, she's a woman scorned. She says, you made your choice, and when you made the choice to go with Klaus, you lost your right to touch me. And so I kind of like that she's sticking to her guns, and she's really staying strong right now. And she's got a vendetta against these guys. And I'm interested to see where it goes, because she's a crazy lady.
And it's really interesting to kind of see the teams forming right now, because we have this kind of bro code thing going on with Marcel and Klaus and them. And then on the opposite side of it, we have Davina, who ran off and is with, what was his name, Josh?
Josh.
We have Josh and then
Cami.
And Cami is getting her brain fried so she can remember who she is and what she's going through. Poor Cami. Can we just, I'm not crazy about Cami's character, but I feel bad for Cami. It's like she looked a hot mess.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, she was sweating, getting her brain fried.
Right, one of you guys said she looked pregnant, which I agree. But Jesse, you do have to remember at this point, it doesn't actually matter what they think their teams are going to be, because as we know, something bigger is coming. And the only thing that you hate more than your enemy, or your enemy's enemy is your friend. You guys know it. So I think that this big thing that's coming, they're both enemies of this they join together. Doesn't matter what team you're on, it's going to be beast versus man kind of thing.
I mean, we're going to get the together thing. But at the same time, we hear Rebecca say, I have an inside source. So, I mean, yeah, I can see them all coming together, but I think that's going to kind of benefit Rebecca in the most part, because it's going to make Klaus and them have to use Davina, have to use Rebecca, and then she can kind of mess around with the gears inside of who really controls.
Well, she says, I want to take this city out from underneath them, and they're not even going to know it hit them. And she doesn't want power, and she doesn't want the city. She just wants to take away their power, which I kind of really like, because like you said, she was very much a feminist this episode, and it was all about the women. But I also am excited to see where Josh plays a role in this, because he is good friends with Davina, and so I think now he's maybe going to play a little bit of a role in helping figure this out.
You guys were so scared that he was going to die tonight.
I know. Wait, Paige, can I get you to elaborate on that for a second? So, what do you think that what Rebecca actually wants? What's her end game? So she doesn't want power. What does she really want?
I think she wants them to be powerless. So that means they have nobody under them. The Nightwalkers don't answer to them. The other vampires don't answer to them. Nobody respects them. And ultimately, probably for them to leave New Orleans. And so to take away everything they've been fighting for.
But who does she want to rule the city then? Not herself, but no one? She doesn't want a ruler.
Well, I think she will. And I mean, I think when she says she'll take it away, she maybe isn't even thinking about a ruler.
I think it's more like, look at Mystic Falls. It's a normal town.
Yeah.
Nobody rules anything. We're not in England. There's no king vampire, no queen witch.
Exactly. I think it's just taking it away from them so that they can't control everybody anymore. Not necessarily for herself.
Go ahead.
I just think that it's obvious she wants to teach them a lesson. At that one point in the beginning, they were like, who are you talking about, Davina or yourself? She's obviously fighting for, vengeance against all of them for what they've done to her. And do you guys think that it'll continue, the guys versus the girls at all, or do you think that was just the theme of this episode?
Well, now that we have this bigger thing coming, I don't think that can last.
Right.
I think it will be an underlying storyline, where they don't want to team together, but they have to. But with what's coming, I think they all have to work together.
I don't think anybody except for Rebecca really sees it as guys versus girls anyway. You know what I mean?
That's a really good point.
I don't think that Davina's sitting here being like the men are doing, or Cami's sitting here. I think it just so happens that it's these three men and Rebecca's like, I'm taking you guys down. So for her, it's women versus men. But, they've got Josh on their team. We had Timmy for a second
he's
there.
Second.
Josh is a girl.
Or Timothy.
One of the girls.
I love Josh.
too.
I'm loving him. I don't know why even, but I just love the friendship that's developing there.
And he's like a comic relief because he can be very funny and lighthearted.
Hey, Klaus, what's up? How you doing? How's it hanging?
Turkey.
love
They don't
it.
eat turkey here.
Yeah.
He's also the savior because he can also kind of play that role of the writers can pull him in like, oh, I magically got the stick. I magically did this for you. So I think he will be a kind of a key player.
Yeah, even though he has no power at all over anybody.
And whereas you say maybe Rebecca's the only one who says it's the men versus the women, that really is kind of how it looks, though, whether or not they're acknowledging it. Because
Right.
Hayley's going behind everybody's back, and she's working with Sophie, and she's going against Elijah. Even though clearly there's feelings there, she's kind of looking out for herself. And then there's Cami and Davina and Rebecca, and all of these women are fighting against these three men in some way or another. So I think it looks like that, whereas maybe they're not talking about it like that.
I can't really tell where Hayley lies right now. So last week, I thought that she approached the Josh team and was like, I'm with you guys.
She did.
Davina, I'm with you guys. But then she tells Rebecca, who's at this point not on that team, what she did.
But she also doesn't know where Rebecca fits in at that point.
Right.
'Cause she trusts Rebecca. Remember, they have that
They're like the
little
girls.
bond. But at the same time, it's kind of like, well, are you trying to go after Davina? Like, what are you trying?
Right. But then she goes to Sophie, who is definitely against
Sophie went to
Davina.
her.
So Sophie goes to her and offers her this
threatened her.
proposition and threatens her and offers her this proposition that will help her family. So all I'm saying is I think that she's getting pulled in a lot of different directions right now, and she is definitely a question mark.
And it's very stressful for a pregnant woman. Like, that is not good, Hayley. This is not a way to have the kid, like, being raised. I'm like, they come out very
Stop
angry.
playing costumes right now. Like, why are you playing dress up in your pregnant self?
And she's wearing this wedding dress. She doesn't even go to the festival. I mean, she stays inside all day in her little black tight skinny jeans. I didn't
Let
understand.
her have that moment of, I almost was going to go.
Elijah zipped me
Elijah
up.
was like, he's
Hey,
zipped her up and he's
Elijah.
like, oh, all right, girl, back in your normal clothes because you ain't going nowhere.
Right?
How do you guys feel about that little moment between them?
I wrote sexy strip scene.
I mean, you guys know that even though I know you think it's weird and creepy, I'm definitely team Hayley Elijah. I think it's sexy.
Elijah.
For
that's a
tonight,
cute name.
I've never been like, damn, Elijah's fine. He's always been a good looking guy, but tonight I was like, wow, he kind of does it for me right now. I think it has to do with him, like the Hayley and the unzipping, and I was like, hey.
Well, she is gorgeous.
Yeah,
So
she's
it's
just
so
so
hard
gorgeous.
not to like
I know.
find any scene with her to be a little bit like, I don't know, sexy. It's just her look in
Right.
general. But I know I've said I'm against it, and I do still think it's creepy. Like when I put it on paper, it's creepy. But I think the hiatus brought me back, and I'm like refreshed, and I'm watching it kind of being like, oh, they're cute together, you
Yeah.
know? And she needs one thing to get her through this. She's trapped in this house being stalked by vampire bodyguards, and she's got this weird mark on her back. She doesn't really have anything going for her.
And she's not really in the know.
No.
Like, she's just kind of sitting in this house like, okay, I know I have this mark on me. We don't really know what it means
Can't
or what
show
it does.
anyone.
Or can't show anyone. Can't go outside.
I've got like something in my stomach, not sure what it is.
Been wearing the same clothes for how long now? Like,
She looks good for a pregnant lady.
oh, she's stunning. So at the same time all this is going on, we have Sophie kind of figuring out what she's going to do. She gets that phone call from, Sophie calls Hayley. Excuse me. Within that. Now, as far as Hayley and Sophie's situation, kind of with the whole witch thing, do you feel like she is threatened in any type of way? Do you think she should have taken that threat serious when it comes to Sophie?
Hayley?
That Hayley should have.
Yes.
I kept saying Sophie, but
I don't think it's as much of taking the threat seriously as it is taking the promise of having her family be fixed seriously. You know, it's like I don't think she's scared. I think she's hopeful. Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like because She's saying that, Sophie's saying that this is the one witch that could undo the curse that's on her family and whatnot. I think she's like, wow, that's something if I could do that for my family, I don't even know who they are. That's amazing. I want to do that. I don't think she's like, oh, I'm scared that if I don't, you're going to hurt me. Maybe a little bit, but I don't think that's what's driving her.
No.
And so Sophie needs the remains of a powerful witch. And it just so happens that the only witch she can think of is Celeste.
That's in the bloodline that did that is Celeste. She's the only one who's still around, buried somewhere.
Now, Hayley goes through Elijah's diaries, finds out that
Who
Celeste...
keeps so many diaries? These men in these shows write so many diaries.
finds out that she's buried between 2 trees.
2 big oaks
or
something like that. I think it was very clever because with the writing, I did not see this coming. You know, like when he was having that issue in the woods after he got bit, I didn't see Celeste playing a role at all. And where's Tyler?
I keep writing it down. Guys, where's Tyler?
Roxy keeps asking
Where's
me.
Tyler?
Julie Platt, where the fuck is Tyler?
Someone's bigger.
Come on,
she was looking. I tried to be. No, seriously, where's Tyler? Do we know? Because, where's Tyler? I miss him on Vamp. Now he's supposed to be here. He's not here. Where's Tyler?
So he was captured, wasn't he, by them?
So maybe he's down with in the little jail cell thing.
No, we were seeing him tonight. Where's Tyler? You guys, help me out. Where's Tyler? I know you guys know. I know you guys are watching right now being like, Roxy, you idiot. We know where Tyler is.
Yeah, right. If you guys want to call us and let us know, you guys can call us at 424-256-1633. 424-256-1633.
And now you
Nice
can
work.
continue because I
Well, girl, I don't even remember where I was.
Well, let me.
But that is a good question, so.
So Hayley's helping Sophie out.
Oh, yes.
Within that, the 2 trees, Sophie has to find this body in a woods and find this body between 2 trees. So she does this locator spell. Davina's going crazy because she can feel the witch's powers and all this. And she finds this tomb. All right? Now we're going to rewind.
Rewind.
Hey, what's a rewind sound?
Kind of like what you did.
So Rebecca is Rebecca is pissed off with Marcel, Klaus, all them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's trying to figure out, okay, I'm gonna work with Cami, I'm gonna work with Davina, and I'm gonna build this trust barrier between them. Now, not really with Cami. I can't, Roxy. Not really with Cami because Cami's in her own mind thinking, I need to find out what the hell is going on with my situation. So while Cami is going off and with Davina to the church because Cami wants to find her uncle and confront him because he's
Father
been lying
K.
to her the entire time. They get there, these witches come in, they're doing this magic spell, and we get
That
this
was crazy.
badass scene of Davina.
That was badass.
It was creepy. Actually, it reminded me of something out of like American Horror Story because their previews had those witches in the air.
Yeah.
And then Davina lists these ladies up, and I'm like, what is happening? And just snaps their necks.
Yeah, that was pretty
Davina was
crazy.
badass this episode, and it made me really excited for the rest of the season.
Right. Unlike all the other people who we kind of, they know what their power is and we know what their power is. Davina always surprises us. It's like, I don't know what she can do. I don't know what she can't do. I definitely didn't know she could do that. And I don't think she knew that either, you know?
But that's what surprises me because, you know, even when she approaches Klaus and Marcel and Elijah and she's doing these crazy, horrible torture methods on them with her magic, how did she know how to do this? She's like, ooh, how am I going to torture you? I'm going to make you a beast and make you gargle blood for a little bit. And she's just whipping this out like, okay.
Yeah.
I think she, as she said, she has so much power. She's never felt anything like this before. I think the power is what's driving her. I don't think you think about it like, oh, in my rational mind, if I could do something to this person, what would I do? I think it's more like the power tells her what to do.
Yeah, kind of in that moment, she looked at Klaus and she said, I think she, as a little girl, she's sitting there and she's thinking, you're a monster. Like, and you know what? You look like this normal person, but you're a monster. Let me really see. And like you said, her power is really whatever she's saying is coming into fruition. And I think that's where she started when she, who was it? She said, I can feel this power inside.
Josh.
To Josh. When she said that, it was kind of that moment for her. I took it as a moment for her to kind of look at, like, I'm the bitch here. Like,
Yeah.
Rebecca's got my back. Like, I'm the one. Like, who can do with this. What did she do to? I mean, we had.
Yeah, she's like, Elijah, you've taken so many people's innocent blood. Why don't you choke on this mofo?
awesome.
And honestly, we usually are Team Elijah here. You know, we think that he's one of the good guys, although it's a very fuzzy line. How did you guys feel when she did that? Were you like, oh, poor Elijah, or were you like, damn straight? Because I was like, damn straight.
A great aha moment for Elijah. I think Elijah needed that. I think it was kind of like. I mean, we did find out that he was really working with Marcel the whole time, but at the same time, it's kind of like, all
you
right.
still have done this, Elijah. You play the innocent victim all the time. How many people have you killed? You know, like, you are not innocent. You're far from innocent, even though you have a little brother who's quote unquote
Way
worse.
worse.
Yeah.
But I have to play devil's advocate a bit, just because, you know, we're saying, yeah, she's a badass and she's just snapping necks and, you know, walking away like it was nothing. Can we just address the fact that, you know, they're monsters, but with power, I feel like we've seen Klaus become a bad person and Marcel maybe do things he shouldn't do. And Davina now, she's just killing these witches and then she's going after the vampires. And where will she draw that line? Who will she view as somebody who's not an enemy?
I think it's building a trust with her. I think she's about love, trust, and loyalty.
Right, but
from what we've seen.
You're not going to get that from everybody in life. So if she's not getting that from someone, is she going to
Kill
be like
him.
Klaus and say, you stood against me, now you die? Is that who Davina will be?
I agree with what you're saying completely, although I do, to play devil's advocate on your devil's advocate.
All right.
With the witches, that is not what it was. They were going to kill her.
Right, no, with the
You
witches,
know,
yes.
The witches came in, and it wasn't like, you're against me, so I'll kill you. It was like, eat or be killed.
No,
Yeah,
I
because
agree.
she was willing to run from the witches at the end of it. So at the same time, then we got Tim gets
Poor
captured by
Timmy.
Klaus. We go into that room. Poor Timmy's up in the damn. It was like that scene from Mary Poppins. That's what I
You're
was
just
like.
floating around up
Playing
there.
his little violin.
I love when the show does things like that. It's so unnecessary for them to put him up there, but it's like
Melodramatic.
yeah, exactly.
And I love Klaus. He's like, a little faster, more upbeat, please. And he just listens.
And
Pop it.
then we got Davina doing all that stuff to them. And then we got Rebecca stabbing Marcel. And I have to say,
girl.
Rebecca looks amazing.
She does.
Her body is ridiculous.
I know, it really is. And I don't know what she did, but I know what you guys can do at home. So with Slim Fast, 2 weeks is all it takes to get what you really want. 14 days, the only thing higher than your confidence will be your hemline. This podcast is brought to you by Slim Fast.
I can be thin in 2 weeks just by drinking the same thing.
Okay, Slim Fast, honestly, it tastes like chocolate milk or like a chocolate milkshake. It's delicious. So if you're interested in looking like Rebecca, which I certainly am, I'm sure everybody else at this table is as well, then Slim Fast is your go-to.
Any of these ladies, man. Ugh.
My mom
know.
used to drink Slim Fast when I was younger.
So did mine.
But she would never let me drink. She told me it was medicine. That's my medicine. All right.
Oh
It tastes so good. She didn't want to share.
She did, right. So, Davina said, Rebecca says, I've showed you my trust. I've killed Marcel, the so-called love of my life. I want to show you one more thing. She brings her down to the cell. The garden. And where hopefully Tyler is. Maybe.
They know. I know you guys know. I know you know where he is. It's just cruel at this point.
It's just so hard when we watch this episode because it's all consuming, like watching one episode. And I always I'm like, oh, wait, what happened last episode?
It's hard to keep it all straight.
It really is. But I have to say, prior to them going into the garden, Timmy and Davina's little hugs, and he's like, "What is happening?" He's like, "Why are people dying? Why'd you
Timothy?
do that?" Yeah,
I just felt so bad for Timothy this episode. That's what I felt bad for. This poor kid. Not only does he hasn't even been explained to what a vampire is, and now he's in this garden with people who are stuck in the walls.
Thierry's hands are
and Josh is like, "Oh, don't worry, they're not dead. They're just literally starving." And then Josh is like, "Ooh, did that make it better?"
Okay.
I don't think so. What are these creatures? He doesn't even know what they are, let alone how they are or who they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Timothy.
And, Rebecca's basically bringing her down there to show, look, you think Marcel's this good friend, but look what he does to his best friend, you know? And then we see that Rebecca has a flip side to it where she's trying to work with, was it Thierry?
Thierry.
We all just said something different.
I'm
Thierry,
sorry.
I think.
Yeah,
It's
Thierry.
so similar to, I just did Love and Hip Hop yesterday. So. Thierry. Wanting to work with him and kind of take over New Orleans. this is going to be a really interesting play to kind of say, you know, yeah, they're all going to have to work together. I believe that's going to be the main story of them having to work together, but by the end, I kind of see it splitting up again and everyone kind of being in their own teams. What do you guys think?
I think so. I think it's inevitable because no matter what happens, if they overcome Celeste, which we find out is the big thing coming, no matter what happens if they overcome that, everything that happened in the past doesn't get erased. Even if they make bonds during that situation, it's a life or death, I'm assuming, situation will be entering. But once you're out of that and all of the fear and the adrenaline's gone, reality sets in and you remember who people are.
It depends about what you mean by the end, because here's
that threat, maybe.
Here's how I see things playing out. Depends how long the show runs on for, but I think that everybody joins together to battle this threat that's coming, which seems to be Celeste. Something about her is whatever. Everybody joins teams. And then after that, they split back up, but maybe not necessarily in the way that they're split right now. Maybe so. I think at some point, Rebecca and Marcel will be together. I think at some point, Rebecca will be with Elijah and Marcel will be with Klaus. And then I think that in the very end, then they will all be back together on the same team. But I think that they're going to try out different teams. Who knows? We could even get a Rebecca Klaus team, which I think is the least reasonable. You know, you wouldn't think that would happen, but it very well might. We're definitely going to play the field a little bit here because we don't know what's going to work. They don't know what's going to work. I don't even think half these people, this is why I pushed you on this before, I don't even know what they want. You know, I don't think they know what they want.
Their motivations
aren't
clear.
Power, what does that mean? What do you actually want? So
here's a question on that then. You know, how we're saying we don't know where these people will end up. They really built up at the beginning of this season, Cami and Klaus, and his affections towards her and his feelings towards her. Do we ever think that will
I thought tonight was a great moment to kind of add to that storyline. It was kind of the slap in the face of, I mean, like we all said, you know, here's Cami walking up to like the most vicious person in the world being like, and I'll do da 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 da, you ain't gonna tell me nothing, and you were supposed to love me, and baby mama.
You know he's not gonna hurt her.
No,
I know.
all.
So she's honestly the most powerful weapon against him at this point.
But I think that's part of the reason I'm having a problem with her character, because first of all, I think she's doing a great job, the actress, but the character I'm having an issue with because of what you just said. We know he's not going to hurt her, and I know that for a fact, but I don't feel that inside, you know? I'm not feeling the connection. I know we're supposed to be, so I know that, but I'm not loving it, and I think it has to do, with coming from Vampire Diaries and being such a Caroline Klaus fan, and again, you guys at home are like, why do you or you're great, whatever it is. I didn't mean to.
That's what you sound like, apparently.
No, that's not what you guys
Through
sound
the
like.
internet.
That is what the internet sounds like when it speaks to me. I honestly am having problems because I think that Klaus is such a one true love kind of guy. You know, guys like that, they don't just fall in love with people back to back. So I'm having a hard time really believing that he likes Cami in this way.
I agree with that. However, two things. One, I think Caroline, like he said, is going to be the epic love, and I think Cami is more of a lust thing where he sees her as this innocent girl that he wants, almost like a Stefan wanting to take care of Elena kind of situation. We all know where you guys fall on that boat. But the other thing is writing wise, here we are. Pretend I never watched Vampire Diaries before. I'm coming into their originals. Klaus is a main character.
Right.
Elijah has a love story. Marcel has a love story. I feel like to make it its own thing, they kind of needed Klaus to have some sort of relationship entity.
Even if it's not a love story and it's just a friendship.
That's how I see it.
Because she does look a lot like Caroline, you know, with the features. She's got the blonde hair and she's a little girl. And I think maybe that is why Klaus likes her and finds her to be a close friend.
Well, the interesting thing about that is if you look at Caroline and you look at Cami, they also happen to, with the blonde and the tough girl, resemble Rebecca a little bit. And that then we've got some Freudian crap going on here. You know?
That is true. And they're all very, like, Caroline never took his crap. You know, she was always like, no, Klaus. Like, I'm not. She would always yell at him and stand up to him. And Cami's the same way. And I think he likes that in these women. So I think she's actually going to be kind of his Achilles heel. Like she's going to be the person that they could hurt that would hurt him.
I see
agree
that.
with that.
So right before we get into predictions, we see Davina. She is poisoned. Timothy's poisoned, and it's Klaus poisoned this Fiji bottle of water.
Wait,
It's a nice
can you guys
bottle of water.
explain before we talk about like how we feel about that? Can you guys explain that technical? So he gave it to him. He gave them bottled water, knowing that they might run away, like as a fail. What was that?
I think he was compelled, basically, to kind of give the water to Davina.
So just in case Klaus's first plan didn't work, this was the backup plan?
Yes.
So now we see that Klaus has a backup plan, and then we also see, which we don't know at the time, that Marcel has a backup plan.
With Elijah.
All right, so got it.
And I think that's not the end of backup plans we're going to see this season.
No.
Because
No, no.
obviously nobody trusts anyone.
Right.
Nor should they.
Because you can't.
Right.
And yeah, Sabine, like, you didn't want to tell your witch friends, like, hey, I'm going to do a protection spell over myself. You guys should probably do it for you.
No, I think she did. I think she did, and they didn't do it because even the way Marcel said it to her, didn't he say, I'm assuming that was a one-time thing?
Yeah.
So maybe, like, they could only do it once in their life, and maybe these girls thought they'd get away with it.
No, I don't think that was a one-time thing, as in you can only do it once in your life. I think it takes an extended period of time, maybe.
Really?
Like, you need a little bit of time. She couldn't just, like, that second he was about to kill her, be like, spell it, like, react. You know,
Oh,
I think it
right.
would, like, she would have to gather the material,
Yeah.
like, put it all in her little pot. This is just the way
Well, she
it-
obviously did
I
it.
see that happening.
Yeah,
the same
she
as
obviously
I-
did it prior to going, but don't you think I would just think they would
trust
do it?
No, I don't know if I really trust Sabine.
No?
I think she.
I don't think she told them.
She was nervous. She probably bigged up all the other witches, like, we got Davine, like, we gonna do this. And in her little bathroom, she was probably like, did her little spell, drank a little coffee,
Sang a
and
little
she
song.
went there, sang a little song.
She didn't have enough, like, witch's brew for the rest
Right.
of them.
I kind of see it as like they could choose to or not, and maybe it's a confidence thing. But I saw Sabine as kind of being like a little OCD witch, like always worried about doing things. So I kind of saw like she probably, like she said, I always do this protector's spells.
Yeah, I guess, but I'm kind of back to being with you, Paige, because I think that if you could do it all the time, then you would do it every day. You know, like every time
she
you
made it
woke up
sound
in the
like
morning.
she did.
Oh, it didn't sound like that
did.
to me.
I don't think it was a one-time thing. I think it's more along the lines of
I don't
it's
know.
probably a serious spell that, you know, it takes a lot out of a witch. And who knows what the consequence is
Yeah.
for Sabine to doing something like that.
What
and
did she
Sabine's probably
say?
a more higher being than the other witches, I would.
What did she say that made you think that she did every day? She said, I've done this before. Or something.
She said like I always do this before doing
Oh, okay.
something. So she made it sound like to me that
Oh.
she wouldn't go and do this kind of, you know, scenario or situation without protecting herself. So
What do we think that they came in there to get her for the rest of the harvest, right?
Right, to
So they
complete it.
were 100% going to kill her, but they don't believe killing her kills her. They believe killing her brings everybody else back and
Correct.
brings her back, right?
Correct.
So really that's not that malicious.
I just feel like it needs to be a sit-down conversation versus like storming the castle in black dresses and floating in the air. Like, what? Like, that is threatening, and I will kill you for doing that.
But if you're Davina, are you really even going to believe them? I'd be like, I just watched you slit all of my
Right.
friends'
Right.
throats. So even if there is truth to this, are you willing to believe it and stand up there? And
Yeah.
especially when you have all this power now and you're in control, why give it up?
Well, and to piggyback off that and kind of your idea of where, you know, is Davina going to be like a Klaus? You know, so we see Timothy dies, and how is that going to affect Davina now?
Every death
Moving
hardens
forward.
your heart. I mean, and she's seen all of her friends die, and she's seen now Timothy die, and she's seen all this sadness and hate and pain. I mean, I think it takes a toll on a person. But the one thing I'm kind of thinking that might bring her to a point where she would be willing to do the harvest would be the idea, like if somebody really resonated with her, the people she
Josh.
could bring back. You know what I mean? Like the friends
Her
that,
best friend.
Yeah, her best friend who could come back if she did this.
I wonder if Celeste was a what is it called, the Elder Witch?
Yeah.
Was that what?
Well,
And
she must have been.
maybe her coming back could bring back all the other elders, so we get Agnes back and all of them, and that's like something, the power that's coming. We get all the elders,
Versus
and they're all
Davina.
back for not even versus Davina, versus everybody, like all these revenge-seeking elder witches or
Oh,
something.
yeah, because I mean, the witches have kind of been shitted on.
See, what I'm confused about, are we bringing Celeste back or are we using her ashes? Because I know Sophie thinks she's solely using her ashes to draw power from, because that's how the New Orleans witches perform. They draw their power from the dead ancestors. And so is Celeste different? Like, why is Celeste different? Is she more powerful? Did she have something different about her? Who was she that makes her the key? Because she still has all those other witches in that graveyard she can draw from.
Well, she's part of the bloodline, which the other witches are not. Not all of them are. I think it was answered in tonight's episode, but I don't remember the exact wording because they said she was on the phone with Hayley and was like, I still have the one witch. So it seemed like there was only one out there and it was Celeste. But you're right, I don't know exactly why Celeste is that witch.
Well, and on that note, let's head into predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
The one thing that got me with this episode too, not the one thing, there was a bunch of them actually,
I was
but
going to say one.
another thing that got me about this episode is, Marcel, you were so obsessed with keeping an eye on Davina and all this stuff. You never thought to put the pictures together and look at the face of Celeste at all? No one ever thought, like, not even Davina, like, you never thought, like, what am I drawing here?
Yeah. It's a really good point.
But it does look like just a mess. Like when you put one in front of you, it's like, meh. But maybe it just takes a logical thinker like Elijah to be like, well, maybe this means something.
Elijah put that together quick.
Yeah.
Well, once you're watching him do it, you're like, oh, that's an eye.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a mouth. And it's like, okay, now this looks like something.
I want to go back to the first few episodes when she's drawing and see if the show knew that was where that was going, because I want to see if you can see the eyeball.
Oh, I think
or
100%, because even when we interviewed Sophie, I mean, she knew what the big bad was. She just couldn't tell us.
Yeah, which is crazy because we interviewed her like episode 2 or 3, and now we're on episode 10, and she already knew this was coming. So, you know, they're getting these scripts. They know what's up.
Mm-hmm. Or they could have just said, you know, the big bad's coming, but we ain't gonna tell you what it is, and she really ain't even know.
All right, that's true. Hashtag where's Tyler?
Let's get it trending, people.
I mean, all right, so next week we see Davina's strength is going to be crazy, and then we get Marcel versus Klaus, because it looked like Klaus is trying to come after Davina.
I can't tell you what it looked like because that happened so fast. I mean, we know now that Klaus is going after Davina, but Marcel is sticking up for Davina.
Let me ask you guys this. What do you guys think as far as Davina trusting Marcel again? Do we see that happening at all this season?
I think
at least
yes.
this season.
I think yes, because if you remember, it wasn't her that killed him. It was Rebecca who stabbed him. Not really killed him, but stabbed him this episode. And if Rebecca didn't do that, it seemed like she was buying into it.
Oh, yeah,
so yeah,
she did say.
And at the very end, when she was pretending to be asleep, she was really not asleep, and she heard him say, like, what am I going to have to do to gain back trust? But if your question is, does she trust him? The answer, in my opinion, is no. If the question is, by the end of the season, will she? The answer, in my opinion, is yes.
I agree. I think she will learn to trust him again. As we've seen hundreds of times, these characters flip-flop about who they trust, who they don't trust. I do think it's going to take a lot of work on Marcel's part. And I think with the trust for Marcel and Davina will come Rebecca trusting Marcel again. Because I do see this alliance forming with Cami, Josh, and Davina, whether anybody else knows about it or not. That is happening. So when one person kind of jumps ship, I think it's easier for other people to jump ship.
It's also interesting because we've got the 16-year-old Davina, who is young and impressionable, and then we've got Rebecca, who's like always kind of wanted to be the popular 16-year-old at the party. So I wonder how that dynamic's going to play. Like Rebecca and Davina, do they become best friends? Do they become looking out for each? You know, I don't know.
And Hayley. I mean, is Hayley going to hang out with Davina? They live in the same house now.
Well, all right.
Roomies.
Yes or no? Is Celeste physically coming back? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I think thumbs up.
So we have 4
You know,
thumbs
we've
up.
already cast her. So.
Okay.
Sense.
So, and the only reason I say I feel like she's coming back is because I don't feel like we wouldn't have gotten the picture.
Right.
So, okay, with her coming back, when do you think she's coming back, Roxy?
I'm going to say we're going to see some part of her at the end of next episode.
Paige?
I agree. I think it'll be a cliffhanger, but we're not really going to see her till 2 episodes out. Like, nothing really.
Yeah, I think the ashes will be dug up next week, and then it'll kind of be going into something else, but we're not going to see her next
And do you
week.
guys see it just being Celeste, or do you see all of the witches kind of coming back?
I think Agnes, we haven't seen the last of her.
You're really stuck on that, Agnes.
Well, because they
Just
they
kidding.
just keep mentioning her, and otherwise I feel like who cares that she was the elder? You know, she just keeps coming up. So,
Do you guys think that we're going to see Davina's throat slit at some point in time this season?
Yeah.
like her actually die,
No, I
or
think
the
the
harvest?
The harvest, the throat slit.
Yeah, I think the harvest is gonna take place because I think we're going to get her best friend back.
I hope so. I would like to see all those witches we lost come back.
I see it being a moment too. I see it being just
how
her
is that
innocent
not a
face,
moment?
not knowing that it's even going to happen and it just happening, and all of us is kind of being like,
Going back to like England, I see it as like a guillotine moment.
Oh, well, I don't think you can completely sever the head.
No,
I don't know. I don't know if she'd come back.
Then the
looking so
harvest
good.
doesn't work out so well for her.
Maybe not.
Well, we want to know what you guys think. You guys can tweet us at AfterBuzz TV on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Also, keep in touch with us on iTunes. Subscribe to our podcast. Help us get to #1. Come on, guys. Cougar Town is like top 2. Like, what?
What is that?
Unless you're a fan of Cougar Town, and then good for you.
We love you.
Congrats.
Love us more. But you guys can tweet us live. Tweet me at DJ Jesse J.
At Cinematic Escape.
At Paige Sullivan.
At Roxy Striar, # Where's Tyler?
Till next week, same time, same place. Peace.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Where's Tyler?
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.